Now, so today, day 3, Excel services. We are actually going to cover a little bit more than just Excel services. Now, the first thing is we're jumping into a third technology. We've shown you 2 technologies so far. We've shown you Performance Point, and we've shown you reporting services. A lot of you know reporting services already, but maybe not using it inside SharePoint. Now, we're going to dive in. We're going to show you yet another technology, Excel services, today. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time talking about how do you choose which one to use. And it's not a case of, okay, we're a Performance Point house, we do everything in Performance Point, or we're Excel services, we do everything in Excel services. You'll mix and match in different projects, and even within one project, you'll often use multiple components, sometimes on the same page. You might even have a Performance Point scorecard, a reporting services map, and Excel services for Spark lines, all sitting together on the same page. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a little bit of configuring Excel services. As a subset of that, we'll do some stuff on Power Pivot services. Now, we did touch on configuring Excel services on day 1. I just want to take you through that again, just to keep it fresh in your mind, and also talk about what you need to do for Power Pivot services. We're going to create an Office data connection. So pretty simple. It's a data connection file. We'll create a interactive worksheet. That really spans quite a lot of things. We'll kind of spend some time on Excel, connecting it to the cube. We'll build some stuff in Power Pivot. We'll pull in data from reports, and all those sort of things. Right. It will then take you through actually taking your Excel services document, putting it inside SharePoint, and then on the tail end of that, we'll talk about a couple of the SharePoint filters. So firstly, there is an analysis services filter, which will show you. It has one advantage over the Performance Point filters. Other than that, Performance Point is better. We'll take you through query string filters and how to use those inside your navigation. Cool. So, give me 2 seconds. Alright, so the first thing to realize when you're thinking about why are there different tools inside the Microsoft platform for developing BI is that the original intent was to actually address different markets. So if you think about business intelligence, there's really 3 different levels of business intelligence. So at the one end, we've got strategic. Now, when we talk about strategic BI, this is the thing that everybody always promotes heavily. It's the executive dashboards. So you're the CEO of a company, and you want to get an idea of how your company's doing very quickly. You've got some traffic lights, and that's what you want to see. Right, and that's the most popular view of business intelligence. Now, there's 2 halves to that. The first half is, yes, okay, you're the CEO, and you've got some decisions to make, and business intelligence is what you're going to use to help you make those decisions. And they really fall into 2 bands on the strategic level. The first band is you've got a bunch of big decisions. These decisions take a lot of time. They require a lot of collaboration, so it's not something you do on your own. And they've got a huge impact, but you don't make many of them. So an example over here, retail world, you're opening up a new store. It's not something you do every day. You need to go into the market, look at the potential market base. So there's some data that comes from market research. Maybe you pull in some data from the US Census Bureau. You sit down together with other people. Your CFO does a business case. He reviews the financial aspects. He sends it around. So there's some workflow that goes on there, and that's really a place that SharePoint can help. While this is happening, you also want to get that overview of the company. So while you're trying to decide should we open a new store, you also want to see, are all of the rest of our stores still doing okay? And so you've got the two halves over there. You've got the one thing where these big decisions that are made by a group of people, you're collaborating on them, but you've also got this idea that you're continually monitoring the business as it goes along. So on the other end of the spectrum then is operational BI. This is something that is in some ways even more important than the strategic BI, but the difference here is that each individual decision is not that important. If you get one of them wrong, well, so what? But there are a lot of them, and together they add up to something important. So, as an example, perhaps you've got a person who comes in and they're shopping for Christmas, and they've got a credit card or they've got a store card, and they've got some credit on that store card, but it's not quite enough to buy the things that they want to buy, and they're asking for an extension of credit, and they're going to the credit clerk at the retail store, and the credit clerk at the retail store takes a look at their buying history and their payment history, and they make a decision, yes or no, we can extend their credit. So, if they get it wrong and this person actually defaults, it's not a huge train smash for the store individually, but all these decisions add up together. Now, the difference with these types of decisions is that, one, they're often embedded inside the systems that you're using. So you might be sitting in the sales system, you want to get a report that looks at this person's buying history. They also tend to be very, very granular. So you're looking at a person at a time, or a store at a time, whatever the case is, and you're looking at things at a very detailed level. Right? So you're not doing a lot of aggregation up there. This is really where reporting services comes into play in the theory. Now, in the middle then are your tactical decisions. Really, this is actually where most BI projects live and where most of the work happens. Now, tactical projects, they're not quite as detailed as operational, although they might overlap with operational. They're not quite as big and overwhelmingly mixed state sources like you have at the strategic level. Really, this is where mostly Excel running off analysis services, where people are trying to pull in different types of data, do some analysis, come up with a decision. They might spend quite a bit of time on this particular decision, but it's not going to span months, and it might be one analyst sitting on his own. So maybe this is saying, okay, we want to stock some new products, and we want to stock these products across the stores, but let's say we have to choose between two brands, and which brand is going to get premier floor space. That's the sort of thing you'll do at a tactical level. So loosely speaking, the continuum is that strategic BI is SharePoint collaboration as well as performance point dashboards. Operational BI is reporting services, and Excel is for the tactical type of analytical BI. That's the theory. In my experience, that's not quite how it works out. So let's talk about the tools a little bit. Now you guys have seen Performance Point. We played with it yesterday. The scorecards are really easy to put together. You've got an analysis services cube. You want to throw together a scorecard, and you can do it dead quick. Put it in, drop in a dimension, drop in some drill downs, and it all just happens.